Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be discussing the biggest type soul update, aside from Hell, of course, that we're going to be getting. And unlike Hell, this one is actually confirmed to be dropping relatively soon. It actually should have dropped this update, like when the game re-released, this was supposed to be in the game. Yeah, let's just get right into it. Before I start though, please make sure to like and subscribe. Let's hit 10k by the end of the month and let's get right into it. The first thing about dungeons is the fact that they were actually supposed to drop with type souls re-released, to my knowledge. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that they were actually supposed to drop with the re-release. Obviously they did end up getting delayed, and this is just because they weren't complete enough. And honestly, this is kind of off topic, but I feel like the game just shouldn't have released. It doesn't feel like they really added anything new to the game. There's obviously hybrid races, but I'm going to be real with you, most people don't care about them, or most people just don't want to grind for them, which is completely fair. The big problem I see with the dungeons update is the fact that it isn't really publicized. I don't know, I can't think of the word, but basically, you know how when Hell was first announced, like everybody got hyped for it, like Setcher posted in announcements. Dungeons has not received anything like that. Like I feel like half of the community doesn't even know dungeons are going to be added to type soul. The only real mention dungeons had was the type soul copy, Type Reborn. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that now that it's gone. Type soul developers actually mentioned dungeons in the Sneaks channel, and that's the only channel that I could find where the developers actually talked about channel, or the only public channel probably, right? But yeah, in this channel we got the very first map, Dungeon Sneak, where we got to see the corridor that leads you into the dungeon, which I'll put on screen right now. So this looks like some sort of temple ruins, and obviously there's an entrance there, and I believe that's either the entrance to the ruins that'll lead you to the boss room or the actual boss room. The only real complaint that I have about this, because I'm not gonna lie, like obviously it looks cool, it's really well made, but does it really fit into type soul's aesthetic? Does it fit into type soul's vibe? Which I don't think so. Like I feel like they've kind of drifted away from being a Bleach game, and that's a really big complaint a lot of people have. It's the fact that people hop on this game originally because they want to play something related to Bleach, and now it just has a bunch of off-topic stuff. I don't want to end this off with something too nihilistic, so coincidentally the type soul developers literally yesterday dropped a bunch of polls addressing these very problems. But yeah, let's move on to the next section of the video. So we've only received one actual sneak of the weapons that's coming for the dungeons update. However, with that sneak peek, Daniel did also mention that they have a bunch more weapons created, and the weapon that actually dropped was the twin blades. Here is the actual twin blades animation. This Loki does look kind of cold, and I hope this does end up replacing the current twin blade that we have in game, because I'm gonna be honest, ain't nobody trying to use that. Like that shit is completely garbage. It's easily the worst weapon in the game. If this gets added to the game, there literally is no reason to pick up twin blade, and there's already no reason to pick up twin blade. But yeah, anyways, not to get off topic, this does give us some hope that, you know, they're going to be adding more content to dungeons. I feel like another big problem that I mentioned in the last section as well is the fact that the type soul developers don't really have as much transparency with these updates. Like they're not telling us how close it is to being finished. They're not giving us that much information. One thing is they are, I believe, now trying to rectify that, and now we're actually getting some information. Because another thing I want to talk about, which is related to dungeons, is the person who I believe is creating dungeons. I think I mentioned this before, that is Daniel. Last night he actually did a Q&A session with the community. You literally just got to get in VC and you could ask him any question you want about the game. And that's it for the weapon section. To be honest, there really isn't much else to talk about, as we haven't gotten much information. Hopefully in the following days or following weeks or whatever, we get some more information about dungeons, and we get to see some more of the weapons or content that they've worked on, because, you know, right now we know literally nothing. So let's just move on to the next section. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about are artifacts. So artifacts actually got announced a very long time ago. However, we have literally received no mention of them. Recently, we have gotten some artifacts back into the game, which is the Shikai capsule, the Shikai stasis capsule. That's an artifact, and the wishing orbs are also artifacts. Apart from those two, we actually got some artifacts a while ago sneaked to us by Entavari. However, I have no idea if those are still getting added to the game. We do know that artifacts are going to be a big major part of Hell. However, in my opinion, I think when Dungeons releases, we're definitely going to be seeing some more artifacts. In this video, I'm not going to go too heavily deep into the artifacts. I did make an entire video breaking them down, but let's briefly look at some of the artifacts we could possibly see in the dungeons update. One I want to talk about is Jigjirzl's tree. I probably butchered the pronunciation for that, but basically this artifact is like the vine thing that I showed at the start of the video, or the start of the section. And essentially what this artifact does is you build up a certain amount of stacks. When you reach that number of stacks, you basically get a free auto parry frame, which is basically like the vines protecting you, kind of similar to Gaara from Naruto, if you guys watch that. If I'm going to be honest, this feels kind of brain dead. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is definitely going to be one of the stronger artifacts. And Entavari did also specifically state that this is probably going to get touched up because auto parry is kind of busted. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, this is definitely going to be something that I feel like would be really annoying to fight against, especially on like a keto build. Like, imagine a motherfucker running away and he gets auto parries. Like, That would genuinely be so cancer. Aside from that, I don't really want to talk about too much of the artifacts because again, a lot of these are subject to change and most likely a lot of them are probably going to be completely different on release. So let's just move on to the final section of the video, in which we're going to be discussing the map leaks. I'm going to try and make this section brief. We're going to go over the 3 map sneaks that we received for dungeons. Let's go over the very first one. Alright, so similarly to the one that we saw at the start, this is like a little corridor that's leading you up to a passageway. I presume this is probably going to be the entrance to some boss fight or the actual dungeon. This honestly doesn't really show off much. One thing that I really have like a complaint about in regards to dungeons is the fact that we don't really get much exciting sneaks. Like I know they want to obviously keep like, you know what, they want to keep the surprise aspect there. They still want to keep people hyped for it, right? But like a really good way to build up hype would be actually showing us the dungeons and showing us like, yo, this shit is actually cool, this shit is actually fun to play and you're probably gonna like it, instead of some random ass, you know, corridor that nobody really cares about. I'm gonna be honest. All right, here's the next sneak, and this is what that corridor actually leads up to, which is like a dimly lit room with some torches. This looks all right, I'm not gonna lie. Like from a modeling standpoint, I feel like the lighting is really bad. Like a really big complaint I have for Type Soul is the fact that I feel like in a lot of these places the lighting kind of sucks. It just be me speaking as a content creator, because if I put something like this in a thumbnail, it's honestly just not gonna get any clicks, and this is due to the fact that it honestly looks kind of depressing. So if a developer or builder or whatever is watching this, please make the lighting for stuff like this better. Like I want something that like when I see it, I actually get excited for the game, you know, like this. Now we're on to the sneak that I actually showcased at the start of the video, and the same critique applies. It doesn't really showcase much in regards to dungeons. It's kind of just like a random ass corridor that nobody really cares about, and I think this is partially why even when these dungeon sneaks were dropped, that nobody really cared. Like nobody was hyped about it because like nobody really knows what to expect for dungeons, right? So if a Type Soul developer is watching, as a content creator, man, like please give us more to work with. Like actually give us some transparency. Let us know what's coming in the future. Let us know what's coming in these future updates, because even like the Things channel has been incredibly dry recently. So just, you know, throw us a bone, let us see what's happening. Like it doesn't even need to be related to dungeons, it can be like the next normal weekly update or whatever, right? This dungeons critique is just, I hope that it's something related to Bleach or something that at least fits into Type Soul, because I'm not gonna lie, again, like a lot of these new map updates, it just doesn't feel like something that would fit into Type Soul's atmosphere. I can't pronounce that word, I'm not gonna lie, but like you guys know what I mean, right? Let me know in the comment section below if you guys enjoyed these updates or if you didn't like these maps and what you did not like about these maps, because I'm gonna be honest, like even for me, I just don't really like the vibes, and I don't know how to specifically explain what I don't like. It's just like, it just feels off. I don't know, I can't think of the word, I can't describe it. But yeah, anyways, have a wonderful day, boys. I'm gonna end this video off here, and yeah, see ya.